Wait, why is this upside down? What's going on? Oh, there we go. It's better. Sorry. I was just thinking about the upside down because that's where a lot of crazy shit happens in this show. Stranger Things Season 2. Stranger Things was the huge phenomena that blew everyone away from Netflix, and it's back for Season 2. You know, going into this, I was super hyped. I had huge expectations, and who wouldn't after the amazing first season that Stranger Things had? It was so damn good. Everyone talked about it. Everyone's watched it. And now it's time to talk about Stranger Things Season 2. So starting off with Stranger Things Season 2, we have a lot of different subplots. I'm just going to get right into it right now. We have our main plot, which is the very end of Season 1, you know, with Will. He's coughing up that slug at the end, and then he's introduced back into the Upside Down. I am going to talk thoroughly about this season. I'm not going to get into crazy heavy spoilers. I'm not going to talk about too much of the details, but I want to kind of go over the main themes and what we're seeing and what most people want to know if they're going to go into watching Season 2 or not. You know, so in this season, the way that Season 1 ended, we were kind of wondering what was going on with Will. Why did he cough up that bug? What's happening? And it's because him and the Upside Down are actually connected now. Him and this main monster in the season, they call it the Shadow Monster. It looks like this giant spider that just chills and walks in the Upside Down, and it's trying to attack Will because he keeps having what we think are visions, but it's actually him moving back and forth between the Upside Down and the real world, which is super trippy. You know, so at any single moment he could just snap right there into the Upside Down, and it looks just like our real world with the actual places and everything, but everything's run down. It's the bluish color with the crazy hue. It has all the filament floating around in the sky, and in this season it's really cool with this really crazy red lightning storm. Other than our main plot of us seeing what's going on with Will, we saw a lot from the first couple trailers for Season 2. He's getting diagnosed by the doctors. They're trying to figure out why he's still having these connections with the Upside Down. So that's basically our main plot, just the progression going on with Will and everyone else interacting around him. You know, it's been exactly a year since Season 1 took place as far as the show goes. They say, oh, it's 325 days, 352. So, you know, so this new season takes place over a couple weeks, which is pretty cool. The thing that I like so much about the season is that it literally picked up right where Season 1 ended off, like shot for shot, which is amazing continuity, and it's always great for the viewers to know that, oh, we're just picking up right then and there and going into it. You know, the first two episodes were great introduction, getting back into Hawkins, understanding how the town is still growing and trying to recuperate from things that have already happened, even though most people don't know what's going on still. It's just this main group of all of our characters and their families, because when the government came in after 11 bounced in the first season, you know, they were all on the hush hush. They had to keep quiet, and the government was like, you need to keep quiet or we're basically gonna mess you up, you know. So it was pretty crazy that, you know, most of them, like for example Nancy and Mike's parents, they're just so oblivious to everything all the time. They're the prototypical 80s parents. They're just like, oh, my kids are off doing whatever the fuck they want to do, so we're just gonna chill and live our boring life. That was funny. You know, we also got more introductions to everyone else's parents in the season, which was great. Obviously we knew Winona Ryder as Joyce Byers, which was really cool, and she's an amazing actress, of course, especially on this show. This is probably the best work she's done in a very long time. And the other thing that was amazing is that they actually introduced Lucas's parents and family and his whole home life, which was really cool, as well as Dustin, and it's just him and his mom and then their cat, and then that's a whole other subplot, and there's just things going on. So the first couple of episodes are pretty cool. Like I said, they're just an introduction back to everything again. The third episode is where things kind of got like shaky. They seemed like, oh, I don't know if we want to go with this or not. So as you know from the first season, some of the CGI was a little bit sketchy. You know, it didn't look that clean. They did what they could, obviously, for a Netflix show and their certain budget to make things look as crisp and clean as they possibly could, especially within that given time frame. In this season, it was the same exact thing. You know, in the third episode, like I said, that's where things kind of got shaky with one of the subplots, and it honestly got a little silly. So for those of you who have seen it, I'll just say, but like for those who haven't seen it, it's just a name. So I'm gonna say D'Artagnan. You know, D'Artagnan, the CGI on that was pretty whack. The whole subplot of that turning into what it became later was like, it was just so dumb and a waste of time in my opinion. So everyone who hasn't seen it, you'll see when you hear Dart or D'Artagnan, that's what I'm talking about. The CGI was just super whack, as well as the entire subplot with that. But this season totally ramps it up to 11 with the scary visuals. It's way more horror than the first season. There's a lot more cussing. All the kids are like another year year older, so they're all saying shit and fuck, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. It's hilarious, especially Dustin, because he has the lisp, so he's saying oh shit all the time. We also get an introduction of a new character, Mad Max, aka Max is the boys' new friend. She's a new kid, and her brother is actually played by Dacre Montgomery, who you would know from playing the new Red Ranger in the new 2017 Power Rangers movie. He was just a total typical 80s meathead douchebag, which was fucking hilarious. And of course, he wanted to fight Steve because Steve was the guy at the school that everyone liked. Steve was the man. So then they have their little manly rivalry, which was pretty hilarious. And, you know, in the first season, we thought Steve was a real douchebag. You know, you hated him, but you did kind of like him. And this season, he is toned down a lot more to make the audience actually like Steve a lot. So that was really interesting that they actually took back on his character a lot, and he was a lot more heartfelt this season, which was great. And I want to talk about certain people, but I don't want to get into too heavy spoilers, so I'm not going to talk into those spoilers. But yeah, a lot of good things that you're like, oh, is that going to happen in season 2 happens, and you're just like, oh, that's awesome, I'm so excited. So if you have some cool theories and you were just like, oh, I hope that happens, get excited. I'm also going to say that as far as the episodes after 3, so 4, 5, and 6 were pretty good. You know, they just kept moving the pace along. Some of the side plots got really heavy for like 15 minutes of the episode, where some just died down, you know, like, so there's a funny just thing going on with, so it's Dustin and Lucas, and they have a crush on the new girl Max, and then they're just like messing around doing guy stuff. They want her to be their friend and in the group, and then Will is just, he's in a whole nother level in this season. He's super messed up just from being traumatized from the entire first season, and he's going to the doctors. Everyone in school makes fun of him. It's just a huge bummer. And that kid really shows his acting chops this season. You know, he's freaking out, crying, just incredible. As well as 11, you got to commend Millie Bobby Brown. As amazing as she was in season 1, she's even better in season 2 for the amount of screen time that she gets. Because there's some episodes where she isn't in it very much, but then once it gets back to the later episodes, it does go into her subplots a lot more. And she has like 3 subplots on her own. The other character I want to talk about was Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard. He was also amazing. Of course, he's the star of our show. He's also the star of the new hit movie It. This season specifically is so much like the new movie It, with actual character dynamics, that it was insane. I know the writers from this show, a couple of them on the writing staff for It, and it really showed, you know, not only did we get a redheaded girl joining the group of boys as we did in It, but there was a lot more scary tone, there was a lot of cussing, there was a lot more jokes between the boys than just saying other stupid shit. So I was like, oh, I see the transition there from, it really did change a little bit in season 1 to how they all acted to season 2. They were a lot more grown up and just making more jokes and cussing a lot more. So you could easily see the comparison from Stranger Things season 2 and It. So the big drag of this show, in my opinion, is the entire 7th episode. Honestly, you could skip the entire episode and it won't even change your perspective on the show. It's honestly like an entire fucking spin-off of Stranger Things, which is such a bummer. The 7th episode really ticked me off because there was no progression to our main storyline. I'm gonna get into a little spoiler here, so spoiler, because I want to talk about this. So if you haven't seen it or you really just don't care, go watch this. But if not, okay. The 7th episode of season 2 has 11 going off on her subplot and trying to find her sister, which is one of the other experiment girls, because think about it, she's 11. That means she's the 11th experiment. It's not just a number or anything they gave her. She's the 11th in a sequence of experiments that have been created. So there was another girl who was 8, and she's a couple years older than 11. 11 goes off and tries to find her after 11 actually found her mom. So the government was taking all these kids and trying to weaponize them, obviously, because they were gifted. So blah, 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 blah. 11 finds 8, and she's with like this group of fucking douchebag wannabe outlaws. They're all just like misfits and then total 80s punk rock, and they dress up 11 the same way. She looks pretty awesome, actually. She looks funny, but that whole episode was such a waste of time. And then we only got 9 episodes in the season. What the fuck? I understand every episode was about 54 minutes and the last one was about an hour and 6 or something, but why give us an episode that literally there's no progression to the show? It's such a bummer. So the entire episode is 11 and 8 connecting and saying blah, 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 we're family, you should be here. They're using their powers for evil. They want to kill people who damage them in their entire lives, whether it's just 8 and 11 or it's the rest of the group. So 11's powers, we know she has telekinetic powers, but she also uses her mind when she's in her dark place to talk with people in their heads or find out, and she's basically like a human radar, so she can find out where people are and go find them. And 8's powers are pretty cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie. In CGI on her powers were great. What she does is she gets into your mind and she makes you see something that's really not there. So for example, she'll put spiders on you and they're really not there. Anything really. She could put Pennywise in front of me and he's not going to be there. So yeah, the 7th episode was garbage. Hot garbage. You can honestly skip it and just go to 8 and 9 because 8 and 9 are amazing. Okay, this is what we wanted the entire time. We wanted to see 11 fuck shit up. We want to see people getting back together. We want to see action. We want to see good CGI, which there's some bad, some good. We want to see the storyline finally get to what we want. We just want the good shit, obviously. So the meat of the show is honestly episode 1 and 2. Episode 8 and 9 are my 4 favorite from the entire 9 episode season, especially the finale. The finale was really good and the ending was really good. Definitely check out Stranger Things season 2. As far as gradings go, let's go with this. I think season 1's about a 9.5. So for season 2, I'm going to give it an 8.1. So yeah, Stranger Things season 2, I'm gonna give it an 8.1 out of 10. What did you guys think about it? Comment down below. Let's talk about it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you agree with me, even if you don't agree with me. If you like my video and want to see more content, just like, comment, subscribe, and let's talk. I hope you guys all check out Stranger Things season 2 on Netflix because it's definitely worth a watch. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.